Hey everyone, Tyler Pyron here of the Pulse Network, counting down the 10 commandments of fantasy football. Last time out, we counted down 1 through 5. Now we've got 6 through 10. We've got Bill Enright of Fantasy Football Champs. Bill, let's go to number 6. Covet thy stud wide receiver.
Yeah, everyone loves stud running backs in fantasy football, but you know what? Wide receiver is a very important position. Now, the wide receiver core this year is very deep, but the first 5 guys are really above and beyond everyone else. You're talking the Calvin Johnsons, the Larry Fitzgeralds, Greg Jennings of the Packers. Those are guys that are going to outperform basically everyone else after that maybe eighth wide receiver selection. So 8 through like 25, they're all kind of in the group together. But really that top 8 is what you'll want on your fantasy football team because you'll dominate your wide receiver 1 category every week.
All right, commandment number 7 happens to be must draft thy stud's backup.
Yeah, this is the insurance policy. If you go out and draft Arian Foster number 1 overall, you're going to want Ben Tate just in case Arian Foster goes down. We saw it last year. Foster missed the first 3 games of the season. You plug Ben Tate right into your lineup, and you don't skip a beat. You want insurance for those high draft picks. Any of the running backs that are really a tier above everyone else, really those RB1s for each team, you're going to want to draft their handcuffs.
All right, commandment number 8, don't draft 2 studs from the same team.
Yeah, so this is don't put all your eggs in one basket theory, because if they lay a goose egg 1 or 2 weeks, you're going to probably lose that week on your fantasy football team. Now, quarterback to wide receiver combos are great, but like I said, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't hit Greg Jennings for a couple touchdowns and 85 yards in one game, then Greg Jennings is not really looking that good that week, even though Aaron Rodgers may have scored a lot of points. Matthew Stafford to Calvin Johnson was a dominant tandem last year, but there were a few games where they didn't connect. So you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, because there's going to be a few weeks where the points are just not on par with what they're putting up all season, and that can cost you a week in fantasy football.
All right, let's go ahead and let's take a look at commandment number 9, and don't draft a kicker or a team defense too early.
Yeah, this one's simple. Wait until the last few rounds, especially with the kicker. There's only a handful of defenses that will really get you double-digit points each week. Stack up on the rest of the guys. Take some deep flyers late in the draft. Don't draft a kicker until the last round. It's just not worth it.
And finally, last but certainly not least, we have to get to commandment number 10. Start your studs.
Start your studs is really one of those foundations to all of our strategy, because we put out a stud list for our members every week. And what that tells them is these are guys that you're going to want in your lineup no matter who they're playing. So if Calvin Johnson is playing Darrelle Revis, we're still telling our members to put Calvin Johnson into their lineups. If Ray Rice is going against the Steelers defense, we don't want you to bench Ray Rice just because the Steelers have a really good run defense. We want to leave those guys in the lineup because you never know. They're studs for a reason. You never know when they're going to score. You never know when they're going to make that big catch or make that big run. And then you're going to be kicking yourself afterwards because they're riding the bench. Start your studs.
I love it. Absolutely do. He is Bill Enright of Fantasy Football Champs. I am Tyler Pyron of the Pulse Network. Those have been commandments number 6 through 10 of the 10 commandments of fantasy football.